الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين. Our next segment of the discussion is about عينية الاسم بالمسمى or مغايرة الاسم بالمسمى. So, ism means a name. Musamma means the thing for whom the name is assigned. Something whom you assign the name, that thing is called musamma in Arabic. So, ism is given to musamma, always. So, in the case of yours, you have a name, so you are the musamma, and your name is called the ism, and you yourself is the musamma. So, that's how it works. There is a musamma which is assigned a name. So when we have our babies born, the parents, this baby is the musamma, parents assign a name to the baby, ism to the baby, right? So this is how it is. So this is there's a discussion between mutakallimin. Mutakallimin means the scholars of beliefs, scholars of the science of beliefs, mutakallimin. There's a discussion between mutakallimin that is the name, the ism, and the musamma, the thing for whom the name is assigned. Are they one and the same thing, or they are two different things? This is a discussion between mutakallimin. We need to understand this discussion. So the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first of all, you remember I think in the lesson number 1, we talked about the concept of the definition of ism. So if the definition of ism is in our minds, we can understand this conversation and the benefit of this conversation that we are holding today. Ayniyat means one and the same thing. Ism and musamma being one and the same thing. Mughayrat means ism and musamma being two different things. So ism was derived from the root word of wasm, if you recall. That's the first possibility, and the second was derived from the Arabic word of sumu. Wasm means sign. sumu means highness. The reason why ism was assigned from the word sumu, because in Arabic, kalima means the word is divided into three: ism and fi'l. Ism means a noun, fi'l means the verb, and harf, preposition. Arabic language is divided into two things: kalima and al-kalam, the word and the sentence. This is how Arabic is divided in its structure. The language is divided into two: either the language is a kalima, a word, or it's a sentence. If it's a word, the word can be either a noun or a verb or a preposition, ism or fi'l or harf. Kalam is comprised of these things, right? So this is how the structure of Arabic is. Now, the word ism is either derived from the word sumu, grammatically speaking, which means highness. The reason why it's derived from sumu, because ism is higher than the fi'l, than the verb and the harf in Arabic. There are reasons, and grammatical reasons, where how we prove that ism is superior over, have superiority over the verb and the harf, the preposition. This is the reason why the word ism was derived from the word sumu and highness. Or it is derived from the word basm, which means a sign, a mark. So, and I told you that there's a difference between the definition of ism made by lughawiyin. Lughawiyin means the scholars of Arabic grammar. Lughawiyin, scholars of the Arabic grammar. Scholars of the language of Arabic, actually. Scholars of the language are Lughawiyin. But there's a discussion between Lughawiyin and Lughawiyin consider noun ism to be, it's like a sign and mark that identifies the musamma. Now, so whereas the Orofa consider that ism is actually, if you recall, I mentioned that I think in the first or the second lesson, that ism means haqiqatun ayniyya. Haqiqatun ayniyya, zat ma'a ta'ayyun. Zatun ma'a ta'ayyun. That's the real definition of ism that the Orofa do. If you recall, I mentioned that as well. This is just a recall, because this discussion of today is a connection with that discussion. That's why I'm mentioning these things. Zat ma'a ta'ayyun, this is the definition of ism made by the Orofa. So zat means the essence, the actual thing which is found out there. Ma'a ta'ayyun means along with its specifics. The essence with its specifications. So the essence, the zat, along with its specifications, the ta'ayyun, This is actually what ism is. So ism is not, in the eyes of the Urafa, is not this word that we talk about. For example, you give the name, Kareem to somebody. This word Kareem is, in the eyes of the Urafa, the actual ism is that zat, that essence for whom you are assigning the word. Now for that zat and essence, you make you make some imagination in your mind, you think about that, and that is the mafhumun zahni, that's the imagination that comes in your mind, and for that imagination, you assign a word to represent that imagination. So this word is the sign for the imagination in your mind. And the imagination is a sign for the existence in the actual real world. So this imagination in the mind is a sign for the real existence. That's the real existence. That you make an imagination in your mind about that, you think about it, and after imagining, you assign a word to it. This is the process of tasmiyah, process of giving name to anything. When you give name to your baby or anything, there is a baby, there has to be a real thing out there first. So that's the real existence out there. And then you think about that in your mind, there is an imagination, and for that imagination you assign a name. So this name is called ism. This is a sign. This imagination is also an ism. It's a sign that leads us towards the essence. So this essence is actually the ism in the eyes of the Urafa. This is the ism. And this is the reason, if you recall, I said that when we say that, for example, Allah's name is Ar-Rahim, for example. This name Ar-Rahim of Allah is actually Ismil Ism. Remember I taught that? Ismil Ism is the name of the name of the name. That's not, Rahim is not the name. It's the name of the name of the name of Allah. The name is the essence. For that essence, in the process of assigning a word, for that essence there has to be a mafhum in the mind, and for that mafhum there has to be a word assigned to represent that mafhum of the mind. So this word is also ism, this imagination is also ism, and the essence is actually the ism, because this is what the real zat and essence out there. So the Rahim is not actually the ism, it's the ismo ismil ism. Is the name of the name of the name. Name of the name. Name of the name of the name of Allah. And that's fact of the matter. Rahim is not the ism, Rahim is actually name of the name of the name of Allah. So when Allah taught Allama Adam al-Asma'a kullaha, Allah taught them all the names to Adam. So then asked the angels to tell those names. The angels could not even tell the Ismu Ismil Ism. Forget about telling the Ismul Ism. Forget about telling the real name. They did not even know the name of the name of the name of Allah. This is how far jahil and ignorant the angels were. So this is the discussion. This discussion relates, the whole discussion that whether the ism and musamma are one and the same thing, or ism and musamma are mughayyir towards each other. They are different from each other. They are not one and the same thing. They are two different things. It's not about the ism and name in the word format. We're not discussing that. In the word format, there is no discussion. It's obvious A word is a word. Word is not Allah. So it's not about the word format. We're talking about the the definition in the eyes of the Urafa, which is related not to the word format, but related to the essence, Zat of Allah, Ma'at Ta'ayyun, along with its specifications. When this is clear in your minds, that now let's come to the point. The point is that the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually represents the Zat of Allah along with the ta'ayyun and specifications. All the names, this is the point to remember, all the names which are mentioned in the Holy Quran and the riwayat, the narrations, and the du'as of Ahlul Bayt, like Dua al-Jashr al-Kabir, Dua al-Simat, and so forth, huge list of du'as we have from Ahlul Bayt and Salam. All the names of Allah which are mentioned in that, all of them are Ismun, Ismil, Ism. They are the name of Allah. Name of the name of the name. They are not the names. The name in this ma'na, in this meaning, they are not the names. They are the name of the name of the name of Allah mentioned in the Quran. So we need to understand that. And all the du'as are like this. The mafhum is the ismul ism. And the word format is the ismul ismil ism. Mafhum and imagination is the name of the name. And the word of that represents that is the name of the name of the name of Allah. This should be very clear in our minds. So, if this is clear in your mind, then it makes it easy to understand what is there in Quran about the names of Allah that we are discussing under Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Carries three names of Allah, Allah and Rahman ar-Rahim. And we will come to that, and this will make it easy for you to understand the names of Allah mentioned in the narrations and the names of Allah mentioned in the du'as. So now can I erase it? So I'll give you examples. Everything that Allah is doing, that's one or several names of His. So everything that is going on in the universe is due to one or several names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at these sentences from Dua al-Simat. وَبِكُلِّ إِسْمٍ رَفَعْتَ بِهِ سَمَاءَكَ. وفرشت به أرضك. وأرسيت به الجبال. This will make you understand. وأجريت به الماء. وسخرت به السحاب. والشمس والقمر. Look at the clear examples. So, for the sake of every name of yours, for the sake of every name, رَفَعْتَ بِهِ سَمَاءَكَ, because of which you raised your heaven. Heaven is raised because of some name of Allah is doing the job,
And that because of that name, the heaven is raised up. وَفَرَشْتَ بِهِ أَرْضَكَ, the spreading of the earth being spread as a floor for us to use. You have spread the earth as a floor. فَرَشْتَ بِهِ أَرْضَكَ, you have made the earth like a floor because of certain name of yours, right? وَأَرْسَيْتَ بِهِ الْجِبَالَ, وَبِكُلِّ اسم رفعت به سماءك وفرشت به أرضك وأرسيت به الجبال وأجريت به الماء وسخرت به السحاب والشمس والقمر. These are a few examples from Dua al-Samat. For the sake of every name through which you raised your heaven, every name through which you made the earth to be the floor, and every name through which you stabilized the mountains. Mountains are not, are stable and fixed and, stabilized, right? Despite the fact, if you look scientifically how fast the earth is moving on its own axis, then earth is moving around the sun, and then the sun with its solar system is moving around in the galaxy, and then the galaxy is moving in the whole cosmos. So if you look at multiple movements that are affecting the existence of earth, despite those multiple movements, you see, you put a cup on the table, it doesn't move, it does not shake. Although the earth is having multiple movements at a time, and mountains are stabilized. So there is some name of Allah which is stabilizing the mountains. For the sake of every name with which you stabilize the mountains, and for the sake of every name with which you run the water, أجريت به الماء, for the sake of every name with which you control the clouds, and the sun, and the moon. So this is everything that is happening in the universe, there is one or several names of Allah behind it that is doing the job. So when this is in front of us and we learn that actually the Urafa say ism is the Zat, Ma'at Ta'ayyun is the essence along with its specifications, it's not the word name or its mafhum, then we can understand that everything that is done is based on that Zat Ma'at Ta'ayyun. That Zat is actually doing the job. It's not the word that can make a miracle or any change in the universe. It's neither the mafhum and meanings of the words of the names of Allah that can make any change in the universe. The words of the names in the word format, even the disbelievers know it. It's there on the Google. It's not hidden. All the names of Allah are open. 99 beautiful names, Al-Asma, Al-Husna are all open. 1,000 names in Dua Yosin Kabir are all open. Nothing hidden, right? If it is about just the names in the word format, everybody knows it. Everybody can know it. Can everyone make a difference, make a miracle, do things in the universe, make changes in the universe as they wish to do? No. The names of the meanings is not hidden. People can pick up dictionaries and find out the name of every word which represents the name of Allah. The name of the words is not going to make any difference in your life just because you understand. Yeah, it's good to understand, learn the names as well. talking about Allah, remembrance of Allah is ibadat. From that sense, yes, it's very good. Understanding the names of the words is also very good. From that sense, yes, it's good. But we are talking about making a change in the universe or miracles. That's not going to happen by just discovering the names or the mafahim, the meanings of the names. That's not here even on the disbelievers. So when we find in the riwayat it says that inna lillahi tis'atan wa tis'ina isman man ahsaha faqad dakhala al-jannah. Inna lillahi tis'atan wa tis'ina isman man ahsaha faqad dakhala al-jannah. So when the narration teaches us that certainly inna lillahi tis'atan wa tis'ina isman, certainly Allah has 99 names. Man ahsaha, whoever engulfs them, anyone who engulfs the names of Allah, faqad dakhala al-jannah, he has certainly entered the paradise. Engulfing the names, my teacher was saying, does not mean that you find out the words, find out the words, count the words, find its numerology, number, and or arrange the statistics. You arrange and find out and get the statistics about the name. It's nothing to do with the hadith. It's nothing to do with making arrangements of that statistical information or the gathering of the words of Allah in your database, or counting the total number of names and finding its numerology based number, what number in terms of the numerology this name has, which name has how many numbers. It's nothing to do with the hadith. This is not what the hadith says. And hadith says certainly Allah has 99 names. Whoever engulfs those, that means engulfs those 99 names, certainly enters the paradise. Entering of the paradise is nothing to do with the word format of the names and counting the total of the names and the numerological number assigned to it, or gathering the statistics about it. That's nothing to do with the ihsa, engulfing. What the hadith means, my teacher said, is actually related to reaching the haqiqat and reality of those names. Ihsa, engulfing in this hadith means reaching the haqa'iq, realities of the names. Did you reach the reality of the name? If you did, if you reach the realities of all the names, you enter the paradise. Reaching the realities of those names. Reaching the realities means the khalluq bi akhlaqillah. If you remember, the hadith of the Prophet has said, another hadith has said, the khalluq bi akhlaqillah. Prophet has said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The khalluq
بأخلاق الله. Means adopt the morals of Allah. تخلقوا بأخلاق الله means adopt the morals of Allah. So if Allah is Rahim, we become Rahim as well. If Allah is Kareem, we become Kareem as well. If Allah is, Rahman, we become the madhar and reflection of the name of Rahman. If Allah is Al-Qayyum, if Allah is Al-Hayy, if Allah is Al-Alim, the knowledgeable, we become the madhar of those names as well. If Allah is Al-Muntaqim, the one who takes the revenge, we become the madhar of that name as well. Whomsoever Allah gives His mercy, we are ready to give the mercy to them as well. Whomsoever Allah wants to take His revenge based on His wisdom, we are ready to take revenge from them as well based on Allah's wisdom. Whomsoever and however and how much and as long Allah provides that attribute, we understand that limits, we have learned the knowledge to understand those limits of Allah and we apply it in our everyday lives. This is how you become mutakhalliq bi akhlaq Allah, means the madhar of the morals of Allah. That means reaching the haqa'iq, reaching the realities of those names. Anyone who reaches the realities of the names of Allah, certainly faqad dakhala al-jannah, certainly he entered the paradise. Is that clear? Okay. Now let's move forward. Among the names of Allah, so up till now we learned the whole issue among the mutakallimin about whether ism and musamma are the same, or ism and musamma about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mughayyarat. They're two different things, they are other than each other. We learned about that, and we learned that what actually means from the word name is the zat ma'at ta'ayyun, the essence along with its specifications, not the name in the word format and not the meaning of that name in the word format. So among the names in the word format, can I erase this? Are you going to put one right?
Well, when you say like the names are, some of the names are like responsible for like doing the earth flat or stable. Like from disbeliever's point of view, like how is this cause and effect? Is the name causing this, or then there is a scientific thing happening, or like from if you are talking to them, how you will explain it to them?
Well, if you remember a couple of lessons ago, we talked about cause and effect, that we don't deny it. So we never deny the cause and effect theory. This is how Allah made things to be. He's running based on the causes and bringing about effects. Although He's the one who creates the causes and gives the causality, sababiyyat, to the cause. So, from disbelievers' perspective, the missing thing is they don't believe in God. So, they obviously we have to discuss with them the evidences and proofs about, based on the cause and effect theory, that every effect requires a cause until you reach the illatul ilal, sababul asbab, cause of all the causes, which is Allah, which should not be an effect of any other cause. So that which we call Burhanul Aliyya in Arabic and in Kalam. Burhanul Aliyya is one of the simplest evidences to talk to the non-believers, because it's very clear in its logical argument that effects cannot happen without a cause until you reach the cause of all the causes, which should not be the effect of any other cause. So they have to be done with understanding this theory of causality. That's one thing. So obviously people have illusions, confusions, and beliefs based on something which is not certainty, not yaqeen. Either one, 70%, 80%, 90%. In most of the cases it's not even one, it's actually wahm, which is less than 49% of probabilities. So people have 10%, 30%, 40%, 35% of ihtimalat and probabilities on their minds, and they convert those 30%, 20%, 35% of their probabilities into their beliefs. So we need to obviously discuss with them about the theory of causality to understand the illatul illah. Now about making the earth the floor for that's one of the things that Allah has done, of the millions and millions and millions of things. So obviously the cause of making earth the floor and farsh, also this effect of earth becoming a farsh requires a cause, and that cause has to be something which can bring about this result. So every cause cannot bring every effect. The cause has to be in sync with the nature of that effect and higher than that effect. So there is some name of Allah which is the cause of making earth a floor for us, and that serves as actually illatun tamma, means the complete illat. Illatun tamma, the will of Allah. The will of Allah and the name of Allah, which is the name which is Ayn Zat, nothing but His essence. So Allah and the names is one and the same thing. That those names of Allah and His will, which is Mashiyat and Irada, is also Ayn Zat. It returns to the name that is Ayn Zat. That is the Illatun Tamma, and that's the complete cause for bringing those effects.
So Maulana, there's different opinions the scholars have between ism al-Ainiya wal-Mughayra.
Yeah, there are different opinions that we just discussed, that between the differences between the name in the word format and the name in the eyes of the Urafa, the difference in that. And there are the difference about whether Ism and Musamma are one and the same thing, or Ism and Musamma are Mughayyir and two different things, is all related to that meaning of the word Ism, which is in the eyes of Urafa, not the meaning which is Zat Ma'at Ta'ayyun, not that meaning which is in the eyes of the Lughawiyin, that stands for the sign for the Musamma. Because if you take the meaning of the Lughawiyin, it is definitely Mughayyir. It's different from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The names is not Allah. You write down the name Al-Kareem on a paper, this is not Allah, this is the name of Allah. In the Lughawi meaning of this word, Ism, is the name of Allah. So if you write down 100 times Al-Kareem, that means Allah will become 100? No, there is Mughayyarat between Ism and Musamma in the word format. This Ism is written in the word format. It has Mughayyarat. The discussion in the word format is very obvious. It's a word written in the word format is different from Allah's essence. It's obvious. If anybody believes that the word format of the name of Allah is Allah Himself, then it will end up in shirk and associating partners with Allah.
So this is very clear. But the discussion is about, not in the word format, the whole discussion is about whether the ism and musamma, the name, and musamma means the thing for which the name is assigned. The name and the musamma are one or different about the zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the whole discussion, and two different opinions exist.
So when we give a name to a baby, so it's similar to like a word format because he is not become a mazhar of that.
Well, it's just a word, yes. It's not the mazhar of the.
Yeah,
Put my baby's name as Fatima. Is
But
she a
intention is
follower
to-
of Hazrat Fatima and all the attributes of Fatima alayhi salam? No. I hope and pray when I am giving the name Fatima to my daughter, I pray to Allah to make her the true follower of Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam. I pray. But is she a true follower in every attribute of Hazrat Fatima alayhi salam? No.
So it is just a
It's just,
wordy name.
it's just an ordinary name. It's, it's an ordinary name.
Well, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So if we have some where the name of Allah written on a piece of paper, if it falls down,
Uh-huh.
sometimes we just pick it up and kiss it out of
Yes.
respect. What is it? Are we
Yeah,
supposed to do it
I'm coming to the rules about the names of Allah. We have rules assigned for the names of Allah in our fiqh. Obviously, even the name in the word format has a respect in Islam. And I'm coming on the list of rules, probably in the next class, about the list of rules about the names of Allah. What rules apply on the names of Allah? So we are coming to that as well, inshallah, very soon. So, coming back to the point, the name in the word formats, the names of Allah in the word formats, if you look at those words, the word Allah is the word Allah in the word format is A'zam, means the greatest. The greatest name is Allah among all the names of Allah in the word format. And all the rest of the names, all the names of Allah fall under its umbrella. Bil wasita or bila wasita. Indirectly or directly. All the names of Allah fall under the name Allah, either directly or indirectly. How? Let me explain that. So for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ash-Shafi. The one who provides the cure. Is this Ismun A'zam, the greatest name of Allah? No. This is Ismun Juz'i, our scholars say. Ismun Juz'i. It's not the Ismun A'zam, greatest name of Allah, because this name is under the umbrella, this name is under the umbrella of another name, which is Al-Raziq. Al-Raziq means the sustainer, the risk provider, sustenance provider. Because Allah provides the risk and we consume the risk, obviously stomach is Ummul Amrad, is the mother of all the sicknesses. We eat things, sometimes we get sick. Now we need the cure. Allah never created sickness. The hadith teaches us until He created the cure first, right? So He created the shifa and cure first, before creating the sickness. Sickness is also good. We can consider sickness to be bad. Sickness is a blessing and ni'mat of Allah. We deserve sickness some of the times for our tests, some of the times for our punishments. Some of the times Allah makes us sick as a punishment of my wrongs, and that's also a ni'mat for in my favor, because through the punishments we get corrected to come back to the straight path, because we have gone off the track. Some of the times it's a test for a mu'min. Depends. Allah says in the Holy Quran, لَيُذِيقَهُمْ بَعْضَ الَّذِي عَمِلُوا لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ بعد الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. So it happens that some of the times Allah makes them taste some of what they have done. We have done ourselves the bad deeds, the wrong deeds, and because of our bad deeds, Allah makes us taste some of what we have done. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. Maybe they return back. So even the punishments are good. So sometimes when we eat, Allah provides the rizq and His sustenance, and we consume the food, we get sick. Whether it's a blessing, it's a test, whether it's a punishment, whatever. Every human is different. Every human case has to be analyzed differently and separately from other human beings. But some of the times we get sick. Now Allah created shifa. The hadith teaches us before He created the sickness. So who provides the shifa? Allah. Why He provides the shifa? The reason why He provides the shifa is because He is the one who provides the rizq. The one who provides the rizq, and after eating rizq we get sick. He is the only one who is supposed to provide the shifa as well, because He is the one who provided the rizq, and after rizq we became sick. Right? So now, is rizq Ism A'zam, the greatest name of Allah? No. Al-Raziq falls under the name of Al-Khaliq, the Creator. The Creator is a bigger name of Allah as compared to the Sustainer. So Allah is Khaliq, Allah is Raziq because He is Khaliq. When He creates, your creation needs rizq and sustenance as well to survive. Who is supposed to provide the rizq? No one else other than the Creator. Because you are the one who created. When you create your creation, okay, provide rizq and sustenance as well so they can survive. So He is Raziq because He is the one who is Khaliq. And He is Shafi because He is the one who is Raziq. So there is a sequence. This is a smaller name falling under a larger name, smaller and larger in terms of the scope. Allah is always Azim. You're talking about the Zat and essence of Allah. He's always Azim. You're talking about the names. This name has a smaller scope. This name has a larger scope. This name has even further large scope. And this is also not Isma A'zam. Al-Khaliq is not Isma A'zam of Allah. That's not the greatest name, because this is falling under the umbrella of another bigger name, which is Al-Qadir. Means the all-powerful. Because Allah is all-powerful, He can create. Why Allah creates? Because He is the all-powerful. When He has absolute power, you can create. So if you name your child Abdul Shafi, slave of that one who provides the cure, very good name, but that's not Isma A'zam. That's not the biggest name of Allah. Its scope is very limited. If you name your child Abdul Raziq, that means your focus of attention was on the rizq, right? It shows your level of ma'rifat. So your focus was on the rizq. So you are a slave of Allah because Allah provides the rizq and sustenance to you. What if Allah, let's suppose, did not provide the rizq? Are you not going to be a slave of Allah in that case? So Abdul Razik is good, but that's not the biggest scope. So Al Khaliq is higher. So if you name your child Abdul Khaliq, slave of the Creator, that's not the Ismul Azam, because that's under another name of Allah, which is Abdul Qadir. Now, Qudrat of Allah is Ayn Zat. Is nothing but His essence. His Zat and Qudrat is one and the same thing. The same Al-Qadir is Allah and the same Allah is Al-Qadir. That's Ayn Zat. This is called Ism Zat. Name of the essence. None of these are Ism Zat. They are not the names of the essence of Allah. They are the names of the actions of Allah. That's why we call them Ismul Fi'l. Name of the action, or Asma'ul Af'al. The plural will be like this. Asma'ul Af'al. Names of the actions of Allah. These are actions of Allah. Allah will be called Ash-Shafi since ever? No. He will be called Ash-Shafi only since when He started to provide the Shifa. Then onwards, we call Allah to be Ash-Shafi. Is Allah Ar-Razik since ever? We call Allah to be Ar-Razik since when He started to provide the rizq. We call Allah to be Khaliq since ever. We call Him Al-Khaliq, the Creator, since He started to create. He was there when nothing else was there. He did not create anything at that time, right? There was no time. Time was created later on by Allah, right? So He was there. كَانَ اللَّهُ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ مَعَهُ شَيْءٌ. Allah was there and nothing was along with Him. He was the only one. So He did not create. At that, I don't want to use the word time because it simply doesn't apply in this example, because it's beyond the time that we are discussing, beyond the limitations of time, what we are discussing. But at that time, He's not called Khaliq because He never created anything yet. It was only Allah. But since Allah is there, He's always Al-Qadir. Because Al-Qadir is Ayn al-Zat, is nothing but His essence. His essence and Qudrat is one and the same thing. Allah and Qadir is one and the same thing. So if you are Abdul Qadir, this is a very big thing. It's a very big thing because now you're referring to the Zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Essence of God, not the fi'l of Allah, not any of the Asma'ul Af'al. Asma'ul Af'al fall under all the Asma'ul Af'al. All the names of the actions of Allah fall under one of the names that are Ismul Zat, names for His essence. Is that clear? وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد.